Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, welcome to an extraordinary journey, and that I promise that will be extraordinary, to illuminate the paths to a brighter future of work. Our conference today, titled "Employee Engagement and Future of Work: How Web3 Can Make Your Skill Set Portable to Boost Your Career." So this is the title. In the year of 2023, we find ourselves in a critical crossroads. Productivity is waning in the United States and Europe, and employee disengagement has cast a global shadow. However, in the midst of these challenges, there is a beacon of hope, of course. A Gallup's research has unveiled a profound truth. Says that companies with engaged employees not only flourish but also outperform the competition with 23% higher profitability and 43 lower turnover rates. So the impact of engaged employees cannot be overstated. So the key lies in building a high-performing culture, not just that, but also nurturing the professional growth of your team. It's about making every employee a vital part of your organization journey, turning them into lifelong ambassadors who carry your mission forward, who carry your vision forward. But how we can achieve this transformation? So this is the question that Geraldine will answer, I hope. Enter the world of Web3 and blockchain, a realm of innovation that holds the potential to revolutionize the way we work, engage our employees, and nurture their skills. Today, we are the privilege to have a visionary leader who has harnessed the power of Web3 to drive the change. Allow me to introduce our esteemed speaker, Geraldine. As the founder and CEO of Good for Work, she pioneers total talent recognition software with a mission to leverage Web3's capabilities to enhance hybrid teams and employee engagement by recognizing and rewarding talents. So, drawing from a wellspring of experience navigating 15 years in the corporate landscape of France and of the United States, Geraldine brings a unique perspective to our discussion. And today, we are here to tap into this reservoir of knowledge to explore the intersections of technology, talent, and management. We're a cocktail of amazing subjects. Together, we will delve into innovative solutions that can make your skill set portable, engage employees beyond their current roles, and empower them to be beyond limits. Yeah. And without further ado, I present to you Geraldine.
Hi everyone, very excited to be here. And first and foremost, I would like to just say a word, sending my love to people in Morocco, located in Morocco, and to people who help them for those who experience the earthquake.
Yeah.
But let's dig in and starting by introducing myself. So I'm Geraldine. I'm a French Californian HR tech entrepreneur with a background in global leadership and HR in all sorts of companies, construction, IT, education. Thanks, Sajid, for the great intro. And I would like to start by telling you my vision of the future when I was a kid. My representation of the future was from basically the novel of H.G. Wells. You might have read it or not, The War of Words, because humans and heroes always win at the end. And I'm wondering, and I'm sure that you all had one specific vision of the future when you were a kid. But indeed, we had this very fast forward acceleration of the future of work of at least 10 or 15 years during and after the pandemic. We have tried many workplace experimentations in the corporate world before landing on the hybrid dominant model. And the CEO of Virgin, Richard Branson, would say, you don't learn to walk by following rules. You learn by doing and by falling over. So above all, what have we learned so far? We have learned a lot of things during this time, and a lot about disrupting the traditional work setting. So in any specific order, what we have learned: work is not our whole life. That's the first. Knowing how to manage remote workers is basically not at all an improvisation, but more a matter of stellar leadership. We learned that social capital, which is networks and professional relationships, is essential in the corporate world to spur innovation or learn by mimetism, learn by others, by seeing others. We learned that a people-first culture, unfortunately, won't prevent mass layoff. And we learned that individual productivity is not enough. Individual productivity was super high at the beginning of the pandemic, but basically we discovered that what matters is very much collective productivity. And I want to start with some context and the big picture for you to understand how the latest HR tech innovations can increase productivity. So in short, employee engagement and motivation, as you mentioned, Sajid, are the first programs to increase productivity in the workplace. And Web3 can help through talent management, innovations, and career management process. And I will absolutely tell you more in a few. And you may know a little bit about Web3. If not, I highly recommend you start learning because it will take more and more place in the coming years. And there's a great New York Times articles which is called The Latecomers Guide to Crypto by Kevin Roose, who is a technology columnist at the New York Times, which is an excellent place to start. And I can share the link with you if you don't have access to the New York Times. Happy to do that. So indeed, what we realize quickly when we start learning about Web3 is that some attributes of Web3 related to its technological capabilities help you own your personal data and store them in a safe place under the conditions you know how to mitigate the risk, of course. So to understand how Web3 can help increase employee productivity and engagement, you need to understand first what is modern employee engagement. And we can go to the next slide for that. So what I call modern employee engagement is the acknowledgement, which is proven by research and behavioral science, that the right approach for leadership to create high performance, it's more about building trust than leading through fear. It's more about matrix and agile organization. In summary, modern employee engagement goes beyond traditional job satisfaction and loyalty concepts. It's really very much focusing on creating a holistic and supportive work environment that values employees as individuals, that fosters well-being, and actively involves employees in the organization's mission and growth. So the relationships between people and teams, which is called the social capital, and the corporate culture, which is the work environment, everything is channeling into the employee engagement. And there's a famous quote from the leadership author, Peter Drucker, who definitely summarized everything. And he said, culture eats strategy for breakfast, which means that, for example, a toxic work environment won't create high performance or customer satisfaction for a long time. Instead, leadership and management skills, what we expect from modern leaders is to have strong interpersonal and coaching skills, The best leaders are coaches. These coaching skills are very crucial, and these modern leaders are very crucial in creating a positive work environment and driving employee engagement. So also we can modern employee engagement is also about social responsibility, for example, more and more social responsibility for companies. It's about work-life integration. So for example, parental leaves. It's about employee well-being and giving a voice to employees. It's about diversity and inclusion initiatives. It's about tech and tools, because of course we need enablers of this culture, and this is why I'm here. And it's about meaning at work through purpose and values. And it's all about, of course, a flexible workplace. So everything is evolving for the better, but there's unfortunately one constant. And Sajid, you mentioned it as well, and we can go to the next slide. Productivity has been definitely declining in 2023 in the US and Europe, and employee disengagement is definitely, unfortunately, a global phenomenon, right? However, Gallup found that companies with engaged employees have 81% lower rates of absenteeism, 43% lower turnover rates, and 10% higher rates of customer loyalty, and 23% of higher profitability. So this is why employee engagement definitely matters. And it's a mistake to focus only on productivity without considering the human aspect. So relationships among people, the culture, as I mentioned, the social capital. And indeed, there's no guarantee that more investments in new technology and AI will compensate for the decline in the coming years. But the good news is that usually during crises, we have the best innovations. And in a nutshell, HR tech innovations should be about leveraging the key drivers of employee engagement to create a high-performing culture in the workplace while supporting employee professional growth. So new context, and we go to the next slide. We have a new context, a new meaning at work, we expect a new leadership. We have new employee expectations because we are answering new problems as well. More and more tensions in the workplace, lack of collective productivity. And definitely the 2023 world of work and beyond is about flexible workplace, global talents. We keep hiring all over the world for the better, and we need to include any kind of teams. You know, we talk about the gig economy, but most of the teams are based on project, and sometimes we have freelancers, sometimes we have employees. So it's a big mix of teams. And the new workplace is definitely a lot about leading a global, decentralized network of teams composed of global talents. And in practice, we, in our new world, sometimes we don't have the opportunity to be in the same location with the same teammates to ensure the efficiency of the work. And it's sometimes quite the contrary, right? So we constantly have to learn how to work with new people and teams. And sometimes we don't see them in person. So what we want to do is to build trust with them as quickly as possible. And for that, everyone must follow the same rules and principles to speed up the decisions and the execution process. And indeed, the skill set for success is in the leader's hand at the team level. And for all employees as well, you know, it's not only on the side of the leader, it's also for the employees. They need to have this new proactive approach on mindset, and everyone needs to facilitate the work and share info and knowledge. And it's very much about individual accountability. More and more, everyone is held accountable, whether leadership or employees. Next slide. before I let you read the quick Dilber comics, which is always amazing. So just to tell you that in the end, the human touch still matters in the hybrid and remote workplace, so much that soft skills and talent management strategies are at the forefront of leadership discussions for the future. And yes, having friends at work, as Dilber mentioned, even if it's, in his style, can definitely help build a high-performing culture. We can go to the next slide.
Do you want me to read these captures or?
Yeah, please do
okay.
it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. So the first capture is saying that experts say you will be more engaged if you have a friend at work. Okay, that's good. And when you're engaged, I can pay you less and you won't quit your job because you're engaged, of course. Yeah. So this guy is costing me money. Don't flatter yourself. I barely know your name. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's about, definitely Dilber is the best in terms of humor. Anyway, so it was about friends at work, good friends at work. So employee engagement and what matters. So the proven strategies for employee engagement can be approached through the challenges faced by hybrid workers. So in other words, we want to look for solutions into the problems to solve. And it's quite if we consider that we need to build meaningful work, for instance, it can help to increase the motivation. The opposite of people who feel that there's a lack of opportunities or a lack of transparency for career opportunity, it's definitely an opportunity for companies to improve the career path for all their people. So if people feel they are micromanaged, if they feel they do have a lack of autonomy, definitely it's about empowering people. The opposite of the feeling of belonging is isolation. People not feeling valued, appreciated, or respected, you need to work on recognition. It's about recognition. Leadership that is not good enough most often is about a lack of communication. And if you want to have fulfilling work relationships, of course, it's about being in a supportive environment. So that's it, just to give you that big picture and to explain to you that creating a meaningful work, it's about the company culture, but also the individual impact of the work. And we can summarize this in what we call the 5 C's for employee engagement, which are care, connect, coach, contribute, and congratulate. And this is what leaders need to learn. So, and it can all be summarized in the approach of building a culture of trust, by the way. Through a posture of coach with continuous feedback, recognition, and with a team approach. But where does blockchain fit in this big picture? And we can move to the other slide. So I want to share with you why I believe in Web3, which is, by the way, the new iteration of the World Wide Web, which is very much based on decentralization, blockchain, and token-based economy, and which is pretty much a rebranding of crypto. So Web3 means crypto. Okay, so it's only that it's more politically correct to use Web3 because now it's more mature as well. And as I will mention to you, I'm here to build a better world. So for the bright side. So first, you want to know that I am also a latecomer and I won't explain to you the technical aspects. But still, I believe that the vision of Web3 and its democratic processes based on consensus mechanisms which give more power and ownership to people for their digital assets, is the future. Why? Because we are in a new world of work where teams are more autonomous, and it's all about decentralization, as I told you, and for maximum flexibility and resiliency to back up the world chaos and uncertainty. More uncertainty. The best way to navigate uncertainty is definitely about teams and decentralization. So Web3 allows us to take more control of our future. And this is how it links with employee engagement. It's about basically owning your career digital assets, how it works. So for example, think of badges for credentials. So maybe some of you have already have some digital certifications on blockchain, as it's more and more frequent practice in universities or business schools for diplomas. Another example, more and more nurses today in the US, in the healthcare industry, do have their professional certifications on blockchain as well. In the luxury industry, NFTs promote the brand through digital art that also market physical products. Okay, and in consulting, NFTs are tied to the talent management strategy in terms of recognition, reward, and rewarding talents. So what we do at Good for Work, is basically we capture that positive feedback that we do receive, that you can receive as employee in a 360-degree approach. So to remove biases. So not only one positive feedback, but a range of positive feedback to give a credible and real picture of your impact at work. And we want people to keep their feedback forever and for themselves. And also what is important is why also I believe in Web3 is because the strong value alignment with the new generations through transparency and fairness, decentralization, I told you about that, and career portability, because you can keep forever, these badges and for your career. And we can go to the slide 8, and I'm going to tell you a story. So I love LinkedIn. I'm building up my community there, but the story is that I lost my access for 1 week. 3 days before a webinar, I organized because the algorithm confused me as a bot due to high activity on my event page. That was super bad, super stressful, okay? But I learned that it also happened to most of my influencers and entrepreneur friends, it happens. But it was so frustrating. And from now on, I don't want to, I definitely prefer to control my career portfolio and my reputation. And I love the idea of owning my own digital assets, my recommendations, and the control of my community as an entrepreneur beyond some of my career stored somewhere at another company. And portability is the magic word. I want to own my professional achievements, and I believe in giving more meaning to work and empowering employees by shifting the power in a win-win approach for everyone, for employees and employers, of course. And this is how it will help us to tap into the category of unengaged employees to increase productivity. Because if you want to increase employee engagement, you don't want to make already engaged employees like even more engaged. We don't want some burnout. We just want for them to keep going, but rather we want to try to engage people who are not engaged. And this was mentioned at a leading talent conference in the US very recently. The speaker over there basically said that most engagement models are centered around the work experience and not the employees. instead of organizations focusing on the input of the organizations, we need to focus on the inputs of the individual. And this is why the most strategic use case I see over time for blockchain is definitely aligned with talent management strategy, whether it's for hiring, measuring performance, or retaining talent. We can go to the slide. I think it's still 9, but it's okay. We can be there. So one of the Web3 core value is definitely fairness. And I want to emphasize this because fairness is its protection, is the foundation of HR policies. The value of fairness is very much the cornerstone of the new generation, which is more diverse than ever. And, that's very cool. And sadly, we repeatedly bump into the same obstacles. The question is, how can we ensure to remove the biases from the career management process? How can we capture workforce data from different sources over time? Yes, and it's true that fairness is a very, complex topic. And in a recent global survey, less than 20% of employees indicated they work in a high fairness environment. However, this perception of fairness is totally essential for employees, as it can improve employee performance and retention by up to 27%. And this is why this topic is becoming increasingly urgent as we experience more and more tensions in the workplace. So what we do at Good for Work, thank you, Sajid, is to really much, I told you, to capture that positive feedback, to provide the suitcase, which is the next slide, to carry your professional credentials in your career portfolio, so you can keep your badges. And we do that through recognition. So basically, we recognize the strengths of people and teams. So we recognize their skills, their soft skills, because recognition is also the #1 driver of engagement. And there's so much to innovate in HR tech for that. And yes, and it's all about reinventing our career path in the digital age. And we can go to the slide 12. So what I've learned so far as an HR tech entrepreneur to spark innovation, and we can go even further further slide, is that changing the culture at the company, I think this is slide 12. Changing the company culture, perfect. Changing the culture of a company is super hard. Okay, so it's much easier to start with your team to build an agile organization. And change agents are ideally leaders or HR people who can be the best facilitators to lead by example. So starting small and according to the agile leadership principles for embracing change, it's paramount to privilege cross-team cooperation to adjust the work frequently. Leaders can also personify and impulse change through a flexible mindset and dedication to the team's success. And that's pretty much from me, Sajid. So I just want to thank everyone and closing the loop.
Thank you, Geraldine. It was an amazing session.
Thank you so much, Sajid.
It was very amazing, very helpful for organizations, for people who want to change, and for people who desire the transformation process.